Episode 55. Matthew Aaron from Crypto 101.
Interested in Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is a very vague concept to a lot of people.
Need to know more about cryptocurrency?
We're going to talk about the basics. You know, this is something that people just have no idea about what crypto is.
How about buying, selling, and mining?
Tony, I think that's one of the things that's going to make us a little different from some other shows.
We're getting our hands dirty.
Then listen to Gary Leland and Tony Sakala, better known as the Crypto Cousins, on the Crypto Cousins podcast. This week's price.
This week's price in Bitcoin, $8,200. That's up $1,603.23, or a whopping 23.9% over the last 7 days. Yahoo! Howdy, howdy, howdy. Gary Leland here.
And this is Tony Sakala.
And welcome to the Crypto Cousins podcast. Tony, you doing okay today?
I'm doing okay. I'm feeling great. I hear we're getting a lot of positive response. People seem to like us.
Well, they seem to like our conference. I don't know if they like me at all.
We had a great conference. So much talent.
I know we've talked about this. We did a whole show, but still, I mean, so much stuff has been happening this week because of the conference, I guess, that we're still kind of like in conference mode. But I promise everybody the whole show is not going to be a conference.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, it takes some while to get all the photos together and make sure the website looks good and all that stuff. And it's you and me, you know.
Right.
It's mostly, I mean, we had Mitch took some great pictures. Mitch Todd, thank you, Mitch, for taking those photos.
And Travis handled the audio for us.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
Saved us a ton of money by using some audio equipment I had, and he set it up rather than having to rent them from the hotel, because you know how expensive those hotels are on everything.
Yeah. What you paid for that equipment would have been the tax on what we would have paid on the hotel.
I mean, what was the coffee? $200 a pot? I mean, you know, my gosh. They are. That guy turned that light on, remember? And he wanted. I said, well, that light would be great on our speaker. Mm-hmm. How much is that? And he goes, $250. And I go,
$250 to turn on the light. I want that kind of business.
Yeah, and that's all he did was flip a switch. Mm-hmm. And so I talked him down to $50 to flip the switch on. And actually, I think I flipped the switch on.
And then the next day you flipped it. So you could pay yourself, Gary.
It was permission to turn the light on.
I guess. Oh, man.
Well, if we did it there next year, I know how to turn the light switch on now.
Now you know.
Because I don't think he ever came back.
Oh, no. We really do appreciate that. They did a great job. The hotel staff was very courteous. Everyone had good things to say. And it was great for them to put that picture of a bull over the toilet bowl. I think every room had the bulls charging because that really was a symbol of what we were doing there. We did the conference and we started going into a bull market.
Yeah, let's hope we continue in a bull market. I want to make sure everybody knows, if you are listening to this and you were at BitBlock Boom, we are trying to get audio comments from people who were at BitBlock Boom. So if you were there, call 747-777-9471 and leave us, just a couple of minutes. And don't leave us like a 20-minute message, but like 2 or 3 minutes. You just, your thoughts on it, or something that you learned from it, or who your favorite speaker was, or what you thought of Tony's HODL shirt. I'm just joking. But just give us your thoughts on it. That's 747-777-9471. But I'd like to get a bunch of those that we could, use next year when we start to kick off and announce next year's. We could do a show and have people's thoughts and use it on the show.
Yeah,
but,
so that's a voicemail number. So you're not going to talk to anybody. Just pick it up and just leave us a message.
And then we're kind of planning next year's now. We were thinking about May 18th, and we were going for that kind of. And I found out last night it's my grandson's birthday.
That put the kibosh on the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's not going to be too happy.
Well, he's only 2, so he's not going to know.
Oh, he doesn't even know.
But my daughter's not going to be too happy.
Ooh, okay.
Because I missed my other grandson's first birthday because I was at Podcast Movement.
Oh.
So,
yeah. You get heat. You're getting a lot of heat. When
they're tired of me missing the birthdays.
Yeah, they know what to do.
Yeah.
They give you the guilt trip.
So, but we're like trying to set up the date now, and hopefully, I'm hoping we have this date set up within the next 2 weeks max, so people can have like almost a year to plan.
Yeah, you want the date done yesterday. I know how you roll.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
Hey, Tony, I don't know about you, but I lost like about 500 Twitter followers, which is a lot because I only had like 3,900. So for me, that's a high percentage.
I wasn't paying attention. I thought you were going to say you lost some weight from running around all the weekend.
Well,
I think I did.
I might have done that too.
I lost a few ounces maybe.
But did you lose any Twitter followers last week?
I just don't know.
I just thought it was a big batch. For some people, it wouldn't be a big batch, but it was like 12% or 10%, more than 10% of my followers. So I thought that was a lot of people to lose in like a week.
Well, Jack was going to clean up. No, I didn't lose any.
Well,
Jack was doing some cleanup. Maybe you followed a couple of bad seeds, bad bots. I hope not.
Well, while we're talking about it, if you want to follow the show, that's crypto_cousins. If you want to follow me, I'm Gary Leland. And
I'm Tony Sakala.
Well, we know who you are, but what's your...
that's it.
Oh, I know. So if you want to follow us on Twitter while we're talking about Twitter, hey, I put up a link here. I thought you would enjoy that. I had another point of discussion for us, and I took it down.
Oh.
Because I thought this was so much better. Charlie Lee. I know you like Charlie Lee, even though he's not a Bitcoin maximalist. But he says you should own an entire Bitcoin before you buy any other cryptocurrency.
I saw that. I saw a TV show. I saw a show on that this morning.
Yeah. Well, I changed it this morning, the link, because I said, that's really a good topic. And I think really good advice. Because I talked to a lot of people getting these altcoins and they do all this trading and they keep losing all this money.
Well, I think that it's a very profound statement when you can say that there are only, I think it's 11 million millionaires in the U.S. So there's not enough Bitcoin for each of them to have 2 Bitcoins. Well, actually, a whole lot less now because we lost 4 million Bitcoins. So there's pretty much, we're down to 16 million total. So.
Right. Well, there's only, I'm just counting right now there's 17 million, and I'm pretty much sticking.
Circulation.
Yeah, because the next 4 million come out over 100 years.
Really, yeah. So that's probably a good number. So we're really taught that 16 is probably a good number. $1 million is Satoshi's. He's not going to be selling them on Binance anytime soon.
No, I think if Satoshi sold his, I think the market would panic. They'd be going, oh my gosh, 1 million of these could hit the market. And I think that would start a real bear market, like a panic. What do you think?
Oh, I think that people love to panic, and I think it certainly could, but that would be a good thing for the hodlers in the long run because then we would just BTFD. We would buy the dip. Notice how I left out the F.
Yeah. Well,
we have a good show here. We have a pretty clean show.
Yeah, I prefer he didn't sell them, though.
Yeah.
But getting back to Charlie Lee, I think, a lot of people say that you should buy a Bitcoin first, but in the show it says you don't have a lot of people who are selling an altcoin that say that.
Yeah, so that's the thing, Gary. Charlie Lee is getting a lot of heat from the people in the Litecoin community, and they're probably not very happy he said that. He sold all his Litecoin holdings.
Well, they weren't happy with that.
Exactly. No matter what he does, they don't like what he does. He sold, I don't know how many he had, but it was quite the pretty penny.
I bet he made a ton.
I thought it was like 360 million or something. I don't know. That's if I'm remembering correctly.
And he sold at prices that are like 4 times higher than what it is today.
Yeah, it's in the toilet.
So, he did well in that trade. But, yeah, they were upset at him for that. So
yeah, he used to be at Coinbase. He was like the chief technical officer.
He was at Google before that. And he just the Litecoin Foundation just bought 9.5% of a bank.
That was smart.
In Germany.
Yeah, you want to help get in the industry and transform it from within.
Yeah, that's about what he said. He said, if you can't join them, buy them.
Nah.
I like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty sound advice. Said you need to have some Bitcoin. And if you can acquire some Bitcoin, even if you only do it at 1,000 Satoshis here, 5,000 Satoshis there. I'm not a financial advisor and I don't pretend to be one on TV, but I do believe that is good advice to own a Satoshi.
A Bitcoin.
Yeah.
100 million Satoshis.
Yeah. They own a lot of Satoshis. So, I got a question here for you, Tony.
Oh,
from cousin Jennifer.
All right, Cousin Jennifer, what up?
And this is the same number if you want to call in a question, 747-777-9471, or you can email them to the cryptocousins@gmail.com. And in this case, Cousin Jennifer emailed hers. I'll read it and I'll let you see if you can answer this.
All right.
Let me get my glasses on here. A few podcasts ago, you mentioned a software that you could run on an old computer to let the computer mine. I have such a computer. I guess she means she has an old computer. I think everybody does. It's a gaming rig that is about 10 years old, so it's a decent computer. I thought I would remember what the software was, but I forgot. Any help? Tried to go back and find the podcast, but couldn't. Now, that's the question, but I have to read this.
Read the rest of it. That's the best part here.
Yeah. I love what you all are doing. You all. You think she's from the South, maybe?
I think she could be down the street in Texas.
Yeah. I love what I think she's from South Carolina. No, South Carolina would be y'all. Wouldn't be you all. So I love what you all are doing. I have listened to other podcasts in the crypto community, but find I get frustrated that they're talking beyond my understanding. I love that you start your podcast explaining things very simple and then educate from there. Keep up the wonderful service you are doing for us normal folks who don't have a degree from MIT. No.
And smiley face.
That's a weird smiley face.
It's got a nose.
Is that a nose? I can't
Maybe
figure out.
It's a nose.
Yeah, I bet that is. I couldn't figure out what that was. I was going, that's an odd smiley face. Okay, so she ends it with an odd smiley face. So
maybe it's an open mouth. And then
no, the mouth is under it. That's a nose, I think. I think that's a nose.
It's a V. It's a V.
We probably spent way too much time on this smiley face.
Analyzing the smiley.
Okay, Tony, what is the software you mentioned that you can run on an old computer to let that computer mine?
Drum roll, please. Awesome Miner.
Awesome Miner.
I'm certain that she's running a Windows computer. She didn't say, but an old gaming computer is not typically what someone calls an iMac or some old Macintosh. So yeah, Awesome Miner runs on Windows, and you have one graphics card, two graphics cards, whatever you've got. If it's an old computer, it will just run on your Windows machine, and you configure the altcoins that you want to mine, and then it just does it. And so it does it in the background too, so you can continue to work on that machine if you wanted to. But it sounds like you would just set it in the corner and run. And the nice thing about Awesome Miner is that you can set it to create what's called a profit miner, and the profit miner will look at the latest coins on whattomine.com and calculate and figure out, well, what coin's really paying a lot in the moment. And, typically chasing the dollar, chasing the Satoshi of the latest coin isn't the greatest strategy, but what to mine really is does it in a smart way, because you don't have to think about it. Let the computer do the thinking. And occasionally, now generally, what all the different coins are going to return you the same value, because that's how the market works. If there was one coin that was doing really, really well, then a bunch of miners would just jump on it, and then you'd be splitting the profits of that coin. So what Awesome Miner does is it automatically changes the profit, changes the coin that you're mining. And for instance, say one of the places that you set up to mine is NiceHash. And NiceHash has its own software as well. That's another one you could use. But when NiceHash got hacked, a lot of people lost trust in it. Well, let's just say you had NiceHash, you had, Mining Pool Hub, which has its own switching algorithms, and some other Z Pool. Say you had a bunch of pools running, and for a few hours, someone on NiceHash wanted to pay a lot of money to get a certain coin. Well, now NiceHash is paying out maybe 5 or 10 times the Satoshis of that particular coin. And if you rush in and start mining, that the 4 or 5 hours that you mine that coin, you may make a lot more than if you had been mining something else. So long story short, Awesome Miner is pretty awesome.
And that's at awesomeminer.com. So I hope that answered your question, Cousin Jennifer. And like I said, if you have a comment or a question like that, call us at 747-777-9471 or email us at thecryptocousins@gmail.com. Okay, today we have an interview with Matthew Aaron from the Crypto 101 podcast. That's the meat, as I call it, of today's show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been listening to Crypto 101 for quite a while. He started, I think, about a month before we did. And I enjoy his podcast, so I gave him a call and said, he's in Taiwan, and said, hey, we should be on each other's show. We should do like a cross-platform or cross-show thing. So we were on his show, and then he was on our show. So today we're going to talk about his show, how he got into it. It's, like I said, Crypto 101 podcast, your average consumer's guide to cryptocurrency at crypto101podcast.com. What'd you think of Aaron, Tony?
I really enjoyed speaking with Matthew.
Oh, yeah. I know it's Matthew. Aaron, I always think he's got two first names.
That's challenging.
Yeah.
But he's a really bright guy, and he's finishing up his MBA right now, and he's in Taiwan. And, that to me, going from the U.S. to living in another country, it really bursts my bubble. I'm like, oh, I can't imagine how you can do that. But, he learns the language and just knows what he's doing, and he seems to be enjoying himself. And so I learned a lot from listening to Matthew. I was very inspired, and we had a good time.
Yeah, and one of the stories about how he got into podcasting is kind of heartbreaking. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Why don't we go ahead and go to the show?
Well, Matthew, thank you for coming on the show so much. This is Gary.
Hey, and this is
Gary.
Tony.
Hey, Tony. How you guys doing?
Good. I want to let you know before we get going at all, Matthew, that I am a regular listener to your show. You are one of I have a certain amount of podcasts I listen to, and I listen to every episode, and I do listen to every episode of your show.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, guys. And I wanted to say real quick that it was a pleasure talking to you on my show a little bit ago. It was a fun conversation.
Oh, we had a good time.
Very good time. It was a very good time. This is the second time we've talked for everybody listening. But, usually we give people's bios before they come on the show, but I think I'm going to change that up, Tony.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, because we hear from Matthew directly.
Yeah, tell us about yourself and give us your backstory, I guess.
Right on. Well, I guess I'll start at the beginning. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, 1979. Grew up there, moved to Hawaii when I was 20. 7 years in Hawaii, University of Hawaii graduate, bachelor's in political science. Got a scholarship to China, to Beijing University, learned Chinese there. Was in China for about 13 years, 6 years in Beijing, 7 years in Shanghai. And now I'm in Taiwan in a southern city called Tainan. And I'm going to NCKU and I'm doing an MBA there. Got full scholarship, so why not hang out over here for a little bit.
Wow, congratulations. Wow.
Hey. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I've been in Asia for, I think, probably since 2004. So 14 years, going on 15 years now. And, well, I love it. I love hanging out over here. I do miss my family back in Cleveland. I do miss Hawaii, the weather, the people there. Hawaii is one of the most amazing places on earth. Expensive, but amazing. The people are amazing. And, yeah, I guess that's a little bit about me.
Well, before we get into talking about your show, Tony, you don't know this story. So I'm going to ask for this story because this story is kind of tugs at your heart kind of thing to me. Tell us about how you got into crypto.
Well, this is a big story. It's a very personal story. There's a lot of different things that moved me into making the show, got me into crypto. And every time I heard the word Bitcoin or Civic or blockchain, it was an answer to some of the things that had happened in my life. One of the first things that really, was influential to me going toward Bitcoin was the death of my son. And my son was born in southern China, and he was born with a heart defect. And we needed to, basically, what we needed to do, China has a different system than the United States. The United States is they'll fix you up, give you the bill after. The bill might be huge, absorbent, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a surgery, but they'll fix your family member, your kid, your mother, your father. In China, you have to pay first. If you don't have the money, you're not going to get the procedure. So when my kid was born, he had a heart problem. We had to move him from Guangxi, China to Guangzhou, China. And we also had to come up with $35,000. At that time, $35,000 was a lot of money to me. So I needed to crowdsource it. And I called my mom, I called my dad, I called my uncles, my aunts, grandparents, friends, or what have you. But in 2008, how do you get money from everybody's bank accounts into one central bank account, my mother's, let's say, and then get it to my bank account across the world? It was impossible. Honestly, it was just logistically impossible.
It would have been cheaper, easier to get on a plane and fly to the U.S. and pick it up, probably.
And probably faster. So even my mother, we would call the bank. So she said, "Oh, how do you transfer money to China?" We never did this before. So she would call and she said, "Oh, 3 to 5 business days." We don't have 3 to 5 business days. So she was on the phone with the banks 6 hours one day, talking to different managers in different branches to try to get an emergency wire fund. Time's of the essence. So long story short is we didn't get the money. We had to bring my kid home, and he died at home with his mother and I. And I heard about Bitcoin in 2012 on a podcast. I think it was Stuff You Should Know podcast. And they were saying how Bitcoin works.
I love that podcast.
It's a great podcast. It's a great podcast. It's been around forever. But when I heard how Bitcoin works, I was like, this is the answer. This is what we need. There would have been none of this logistical BS if I had this at that time. But that didn't really move me in. But that was one thing that made me go, I'm looking at Bitcoin. I'm looking at blockchain. The second real big thing that happened to my life was in 2014 when my sister was murdered. And when my sister was murdered, she was murdered by her boss at work. Her boss at work was a convicted rapist, and he raped a woman by gunpoint. He was put in charge by his company, either by lack of due diligence, but it's total neglect and irresponsibility by the company, in charge of women at a homeless shelter, and was in charge of a team of women taking them around to do different jobs. So when I heard of something like Civic, identity on the blockchain, that is when I said, this is what we need. We need ways to get people to send funds, get people's identity, and protect the average consumer from these people that are just, slipping through the cracks by, either irresponsibilities of HR departments or bureaucracy when it comes to banks and sending money all over the place. So these are two big influences in my life that says, I need to make something, a podcast, start educating people, the average consumer, and make Bitcoin work for us.
Wow.
Sorry, those are a bit heavy for the first, for the first 5 minutes.
Well, I knew they were, but I thought Tony should hear that because I think it's just a story worth hearing.
Thank you. Yeah, I really wanted to tell those stories, and I actually kept them very private for years. But they were very influential of moving into crypto and blockchain because all you can see is, and this is why Crypto 101 is the average consumer's guide to cryptocurrency, is this is what we were talking about when you were on our show too and why you're doing it. It's the average people. You consider yourself, Gary and Tony, average people. How can we benefit from blockchain technology? Make sure that this technology works for us, not the big banks, not the millionaires, the billionaires, but for us to make our lives better. And I think that my story needs to be heard so we can start focusing it, or I hope it helps, focus a little bit more where real life applications can be put into blockchain technology.
And that's your slogan, your average consumer's guide to cryptocurrency. If
Yes,
I'm
sir.
correct. Yeah. So Crypto 101 podcast, which is a great name. And I'm sure you come up great on a Google search for that.
I do. If you search cryptocurrency or 101 crypto, then I happen to pop up.
Yeah. So that's a great search. So that's how you got into podcast, or how you got into crypto. How'd you get into podcasting?
Well, podcasting got interested in the blockchain because of like what I said. And then podcasting was because, I was trying to get into cryptocurrency, trying to get into blockchain. And there was a lot of just negativity and fudsters and people on Reddit when you're trying to ask questions as a noob. Hey, simple question. How does this work? How do I open a Coinbase account? How do I send my funds? What's a private key? What's a public key? Which one? I don't understand. And, when you see these 56 letters and numbers, back to back, you're just mind boggled. But nobody will take the time to answer those simple questions for you. So that's when, Crypto 101 was born, when we said, you know what? And honestly, like you said, Gary, I'm going to learn and you're going to learn with me, guys. So I'm going to go through the motions of setting up my Coinbase account. You're going to set it up with me. I'm going to set up my Binance, my Bittrex, my Huobi, or whatever exchange. I'm going to set up my ledger, and I'm going to figure out what smart contracts are. I'm going to figure out, who these people are in the space, and you're going to do it with me. And that's basically what Crypto 101 was born, is going through the processes with me, with my team, with the bloggers, with, everybody else involved with Crypto 101, and, well, just making mistakes and learning as we go.
Something I found about podcasting, and tell me if this is true for you. is that by podcasting, you really do make a lot of friends. And if you're into a subject, like you're into crypto, you're making a lot of friends that all have a common subject you share. Have you found that to be true for yourself?
I think that's pretty true, especially with us guys. We reached out through crypto, already 2 shows together. And, there's a lot of people in the Crypto 101 community. I know you guys have a big community on your Facebook page as well. And, it's just interesting. Once you have this commonality, people start, talking and conversing. And yeah, you make friends. The Crypto 101 groups that we have, like if it comes from the people that help with the Facebook page, the marketers, Aaron Paul that does ICO 101, it's amazing the relationship that we have. Danny Amsalam, who has done many podcasts with me on Crypto 101, I have never met these people in real life.
Wow, in real life you haven't? Wow.
No, but we have a year relationship, and we talk daily or weekly about many different things, and I know their wives, their families, their backstories, and it's kind of like a global pen pal, right?
Right. And then you finally do meet them, and you feel like you've known them forever. And you go, gosh, we just really met in person 5 minutes ago, but I know everything about this dude. You just mentioned Aaron Paul and ICO 101 podcast. That's the other podcast I'm going to just say on your channel, basically. Mm-hmm. So when did y'all start that podcast? And what's the story behind that?
We started that about 3 months after Crypto 101. ICO 101, I think you probably had the same thing. Well, one thing Crypto 101 wants to do is we always wanted to stay very unbiased. We don't want to be influenced by, either sponsors or advertisers or what have you. Anybody who comes on Crypto 101 is free. They're not paying, they're not, sponsored, nobody's shilling, nobody's doing all that stuff. However, there's a lot of ICOs that wanted to come on the show and get interviews and things like that. So we created ICO 101. And Aaron Paul is the host of ICO 101. So they have a space to tell their stories, and they have a space to, promote themselves as well. But keep it separate from Crypto 101. We don't want to, be tainted by ICOs and people wanting to show their coins and things like that. So that's how ICO 101 was born. And also, Aaron Paul does a really good job because he is always going to give his opinion and be unbiased. Actually, he does this segment called ICO previews. And he just looks at the white paper, gives his opinion about the ICOs, and sometimes they're not too nice. And ICOs reach out and go, hey, we want to correct that. We're coming on the show to fix this. Wow. And, they figure out the truths of, what they're doing. And sometimes they get off and they're like, hey, you know what? This is a really cool project. Sometimes they get off and go, we still don't understand why they need $50 million for an ICO to make an app. But, if you're going to invest, invest.
Just because they figured why not, right? They don't want to have to work again.
I'm sorry. Though there's this one time we had a PR company on the show and that does PR for the ICOs, and he's like, I started with this one ICO and they were very humble. They're like, okay, we want to raise $2 million for our app. That's all we need. And then they saw how much money these other ICOs were making. Then they raised it to 10 million. And then they raised it to 30 million. And he's like, yeah, then it was just a money grab and we dropped him as a client. So these people do exist in ICOs. And I think that's another, good aspect of ICO 101 is we also try to expose, these people that are maybe doing this just for money purposes, not for the tech, not for a company, and not for the benefit of these people that they call contributors, which are really investors.
So you have a company that actually brings you clients for ICO 101? No.
We have Crypto 101 team for that.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought you said you used a PR firm that represents. They were representing clients, but not to you. Okay, I misunderstood what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. They're just on the show. They just came on to talk about it because I thought that was an interesting topic. PR 101, and actually we have David Waxman coming up here. Actually probably was passed already, who represents Dash and CoinDesk and all those people. He talked about PR 101 again. And it's a very interesting space is, all these people are going to PR to try to, get their brand out there, get their brand name. And it's a very interesting world how the crypto space is developing and all these jobs are popping up from lawyers to marketers to front-end designers to everything is evolving in this space right now.
Now, I looked at your website and you have quite a large team. Well, really, with us, it's just Tony and myself. We haven't been doing as good of a job as finding people to help us as you have. What's your secret to that? And tell us about that.
I don't know if there's a secret. I feel that people listen to the podcast, the guys that are involved, they wanted to be involved with somehow in crypto space. This was a way to do it. and we created a little community. I welcome everybody, to want to help out Crypto 101. I guess one of my first decisions starting the podcast was that I want to control the podcast, but I want everything to be organic, ground up, grassroots. People, if you want to come and join the community, if you want to help the podcast, if you want to write a blog, if you want to just help out in some way to be part of the crypto space, well, Crypto 101 is the space for you. You can do whatever you want, and let's just see how it grows, just as long as we stay true to the mission. And the mission being help the average consumer, give everybody 101 information, get everybody into blockchain, understand this tech, because I do say that I believe that this is the only time that the average consumer ever has been able to take their finances by control, start investing, and really dictate how the future is going to be played out with the technology in their day-to-day lives.
I agree with you. Yeah, well, it's a fascinating time. I think just to comment on what you said, we're so conditioned by the mainstream media, so conditioned by the world to think of people as consumers. And I know you were saying it in general, but, it's like we think of, the average consumer to work with his money. And it's like that is the whole Keynesian approach, is really to get people to believe that spending money is the most important thing in their lives. And whereas the Austrian economics approach is really to teach people that saving money is one of the most important steps they can take to having a better future.
Right. Just to comment on that is this: I never had the ability or the education or the upbringing, and anybody tell me to take $100 and put it into a stock. I didn't even have the means to do it. I mean, what were some of the stock trading apps that are out now? I don't even know.
Robinhood.
There you go. You can trade on those. You put a little bit of money onto it for $100, and as the average person, you can trade now. That never happened before, and now we have crypto, where it's super risky, super volatile, and a brand new tech. Let's start talking about it. Make sure everybody knows about that, so it's not getting dictated by just a choice few, and the future isn't what we want to make of it.
Hey, you're in Taiwan. Well, in Taiwan, are there any regulations, for instance, for crypto that you may have to deal with that we don't have to deal with here? I mean, since this is a different country, things are different.
I do all of my crypto tradings either, of course, on normal exchanges like you guys, Bittrex or Binance or what have you. But my Coinbase is American.
Okay.
So I have an American bank account for that.
Okay, so you don't have anything.
I'm not involved with it. I do, talk about the regulations. They do have a couple exchanges that link up directly to your bank account here. MyCoin being one of them. I know Charlie Lee was in town about 6 months ago talking to them and got Litecoin listed on there. So they do have, a direct fiat to exchange or I'm sorry, to fiat bank to exchange link. Also at the convenience stores, a place called Family Mart. It's kind of like a 7-Eleven competitor. You can go and buy Bitcoin directly from them and get deposited to your wallet.
At the counter?
At the counter.
You just walk up and say, I want some Bitcoin, and show them your phone.
You walk them up and say you want some Bitcoin, give them some cash. They give you a code where you can go to a machine, and then you send it to your wallet.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Where's the machine at?
In the Family Mart, in the convenience store.
So it's like an ATM machine, but they take the money.
Exactly.
I was talking to someone this Friday who had ATM machines, for Bitcoin, not the kind like you're talking about, the kind you actually put money in and get your crypto on your phone. He had to get out of the business because criminals were coming in and buying $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. And then they knew there was $10,000 in the machine, so they come back an hour later and break in the machine.
It's clever.
Yeah, it is clever. Because you're going, how would they know there's any money in this machine to break in it? It might only be $50, but they knew there was $20,000 in there because they just put it in there. And I guess they watched clever. It to say, okay, the pickup time is 4:00 every afternoon, so we'll do this at 10:00 in the morning. So we have plenty of time to leave and come back. So I thought, look at
us, we're laughing at criminals robbing ATMs. We're bad people.
Yeah, that was just weird. When I said it, and go, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. So tell us, have you had what has been your favorite or most? I don't want to say most exciting, but the guest that you talked to that was like you were like really felt like you accomplished something by getting a hold of that one. Because everybody has that one that's like their whale they're going after, and finally they get them and they go, all right, I got that one under my belt.
That's a good question. Actually, there's been a lot of good conversations, and I don't know. I don't know what to say here because I don't want to leave anybody out. But Hazem Al-Naqib has been on the show probably 3 or 4 times. Love talking to him about like different politics and philosophies and stuff. Doug Pike, the lead developer of Veracoin and Virium, he's been on the show about 5 or 6 times. There's been great conversations, like even some of my first ones. Jesse Limegruber of Bloom. The CZ of Binance was, one of those ones that I didn't think was going to happen. And CZ was there talking to me for an hour. I was like, that's amazing.
I heard that episode. That was a good episode.
And I think the story I always tell people about CZ is when I asked him the question is like, how does it feel to be a billionaire in under a year? And he's like, well, I didn't know I was until Forbes wrote that article.
No.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, he said he just lived in an apartment complex and
He rents his apartment, has an old Apple Watch. He just doesn't even know what he like. Dude, you're like stupid rich, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't really know.
That was interesting, to be honest with you, the way he reacted to that. Do you actually contact the people you're trying to interview yourself, or do someone in your crew do that?
It comes from different aspects. Actually, there's interviews comes from so many different ways. Like, some of the most recent ones where we had, streamer and what have you on there. Those came from, the guests reaching out to them in the either Slack groups or Telegram groups and saying, hey, we really want you to talk to Matthew Aaron. And then they go, hey, we heard about the show. They come on. Sometimes it's PR companies that reach out to us. Sometimes it's our guys that reach out to people. Sometimes it's just, flopping around on the internet and, we say the wrong thing and they say we got to go correct ourselves and come on the show. That was actually with Vertcoin. James Lovejoy came on and, I did a rant commentary about their color choice for the China market because green – I don't know if you guys know, in China, the colors for the stock market are opposite than the United States. If it's red, it's bad in the United States. But red is good in China.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so their logo is green. And I'm like, well, you're trying to do a cryptocurrency, go on the market and have a green logo. Green is usually associated with the stock market as being a down market. So maybe you want to change it. And they just came on and just, talked about Vertcoin for a little bit. So they come from everywhere.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Being an old salesman, I never use red pens. Red means stop. I always use green.
Yes.
And the green means go, or in colors and logos. I'm kind of like he was. If I was doing it for China, I would not be using red either. I would be using green. You said about your team reaches out. Are your team all volunteers that work for you, that help you?
No, we do have some paid guys on there. Some of our key guys, well, they're all key guys. I want to take that back.
Right.
We have our editors, our audio editors, the guys that do all the editing for the audio. We have about 6 of those. 6 of them, they are paid, of course, and they are the unsung heroes. They're not anywhere, but they do a lot of work, and I really appreciate them. The bloggers, they are paid as well. I have, Yonki is one of my is the marketing manager. He's paid. Aaron Paul is paid. Mark Van Horn of sales is paid. And so is Tina of sales. She's also paid. But our Facebook moderators and what have you, they're not paid. But they are also, backbones. They've been around for, since the beginning, some of them. Just, talking to the community, being there if you ever need, a 101 advice of how to set up a Coinbase account. They've been super.
Okay, and then now I want to go to something you asked us that I had not thought about. So I'm bringing this back at you, Aaron, because you're the one that brought this up. Tell me about an embarrassing moment that you had, basically, something that didn't go right.
Honestly, I haven't had many of those. There's always the no call, no show. There's the miss of time. There's the, all these different things. Doug Pike on his first episode swallowed a fly and he couldn't stop coughing through the whole interview. Wow. And it was the most time I've ever spent editing a podcast ever because I was editing myself at the time. To be perfectly honest, I think the most embarrassing one was probably just last week with David Waxman. I had this delay in my headphones, probably just a split-second delay that makes you get mush mouth when you talk.
Hate that.
And the guy has a PR company. He's sharp-tongued. He's with it. He's sharp. He's speaking a mile a minute. And I sound like a drunken retard. I just can't say anything. And I have to keep apologizing. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Really. I do this for a living. I promise you.
Well, that's a pretty good story. What projects are you into right now, or are you excited about, or what coins even? As we told you, we're pretty much Bitcoin's a big deal with us. I get the feeling Bitcoin is not that you're not a Bitcoin maximalist, that you're pretty more open to it. I'm not saying that you're negative against Bitcoin. I'm just saying you're a lot more open to other coins, I think.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. The space changes so often. I'm looking a lot at platforms and protocols right now. Zilliqa is one that I'm very, looking closely on. We had the CEO of Zilliqa on the show about 4 months ago, and I was really excited, and he was a really humble guy. So, I got invested into Zilliqa. I'm looking at Zeeks right now very closely because of their Ethereum to gift card solution. They have 500 companies on an app, so you can basically just trade your crypto for gift cards and make purchases. Either it's Starbucks or Amazon or Target or Walmart or what have you, which is very, very real world use case.
Yes.
Castbox, Content Box, and by the way, I sent you guys some box token just earlier today.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Castbox. It must be our first box token. I guess I don't know how many people in blockchain category do you think got on that? Because it didn't make it down to 4 Minute Crypto, which is number 17 in their listing. So it's not everybody that got on the beta or whatever we want to call it.
I looked around and, let's see here. Sherbin was on our show, your show, and Bad Crypto podcast. And so I actually just did a video because I wanted to show how to use it, because I think it's kind of our duty to talk about this. It's crypto on a podcasting platform where you can reward in crypto. This is what we do.
That's why we had her on our show, is because it was our deal.
Exactly. So I was looking around to send people some box token, and those only 2 people out of all the crypto podcasts that I listened to, from Doug Polk to Neocast Radio to Laura Shin. It was us, you, and Bad Crypto that had the function open.
Oh, I guess the 3 people who had taken the time to bring them on.
Exactly. I hope more people get hooked up with that, because that's a pretty cool solution to, get tipped out for some of the hard work that a lot of people do making podcasts.
Well, I'm going to have to go in now and see what it looks like when you get some money, because I haven't gone to see that yet.
We're crypto rich now, Gary. We got our first tip. That's the other thing. One of our listeners gave us some BAT, basic attention token. And I just started using the Brave browser recently for privacy, and I hadn't realized. I looked on it and said, oh my gosh, we're already listed. We're already getting some things. So I hooked up our websites and made sure they were set up for that. But now that Coinbase is going to be listing that token, it's going to get a lot more visibility for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. What do you guys think about the Coinbase announcing those 6 tokens to be out? I know this is an interview for me, but now I'm going to have to interview you. The podcasting host is coming out.
Mentioning Coinbase, because you know how I feel about Coinbase.
Tony is hates Coinbase. Would that be a good thing to say, Tony? Would that be correct?
Look, hate is a strong word. Let's say I don't hold them in high regard.
Yeah, you would never say hate, so
twist that around.
Why not in high regard?
Well, they've done everything they can to attack Bitcoin as best they can. They brought on Bcash. They're supporting Ethereum. They didn't incorporate SegWit. They basically single-handedly crushed the mempool for months. It wasn't until later someone had kind of looked back and said, you know what, all those huge mempool backlogs were because Coinbase didn't use SegWit. They hadn't consolidated their UTXOs. When you're paying people, when mining companies pay people, they go out and they pay 1,000 miners in one transaction. You can do that in Bitcoin, but Coinbase hasn't been doing that. So they're just bad citizens. They don't have the model for Coinbase is what can we do to grow our investors' money, and how can we suck up to Wall Street and the regulators so that we can be the best good boy for this interface between fiat and crypto without any regard for the actual integrity of the mission of what we're doing this for.
Okay.
I personally think they're just a company trying to make a business like any other company, so I don't care.
I tend to agree. I think they're a great on-ramp. I mean, without Coinbase, there have been so many people left on the sidelines, not being able to invest into crypto and what have you. I'm a Litecoin user more than, and I don't use Bitcoin. I use Ethereum and Litecoin, so I'm okay.
I think that, though, on the 5 cryptos you named, we don't know, as to whether all 5 or if any will get on there. But if they do add that many, I think that it's kind of like more people will spend more money on crypto. And Tony and I were talking about that earlier today. I kind of believe rising water rises all boats. So I think everybody benefits from more exposure to cryptocurrency. So maybe
except the people who get wrecked.
Yeah. Well,
by buying something that is going to end up going.
The ships that sink don't do very well. Yeah, you're correct. But they got to know when to get in the lifeboat. Problem is they stay on that ship too long. They got to know when to get in the lifeboat.
Well, you're going to end up with the Coinbase pump and dump. And the people who are in Coinbase, the people who know, we had what was some kind of insider trading. I forgot the details, but who knew when Bcash was going to go on? Who knew?
Of course.
And so you ended up with that huge run up and then this huge dump. And some people got very wealthy and some people did not do well at all.
Look, there's insider trading. People know what's going on in the back ends, Coinbase or some of these other coins for sure. They know when they're going to go on exchanges. People are buying them up. We know this is happening. That's why I say to everybody, hodl.
But I think they're trying to be a little more clear right now. They're showing coins that they're just thinking about, So I think that's trying to show somewhat responsibility to me.
Yeah, that's good, Gary. That's one way of looking at it. I call it CYA, cover your ass.
Yeah, that would be a good way to look at it. But they are trying to cover their ass is the thing. Where with Bcash, they didn't try to cover their ass at all. They just let everybody get taken. So I'm thinking maybe they learned a lesson there, and they are adjusting somewhat. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping for the best.
So, Matthew, when you get on an elevator, I don't know if there are many elevators in Taiwan, but when someone asks you, hey, I hear you're into crypto, tell me about it. Why should I be interested? What's your crypto elevator pitch?
My crypto elevator pitch. Listen to Crypto 101 podcast. We have 137 episodes and there's a lot of information there. Go down the rabbit hole, invest some money. They say, and then the next one is, but it's not backed by anything. And that's when I just start. That's when I start looking at my text message apps and start texting other people.
Yeah.
How many times am I going to? And then when they go, what do you mean the United States dollar isn't backed by gold?
Yes, exactly.
Because they don't even know that.
I don't have an elevator pitch per se, but I always say, look, please look at the Crypto 101 podcast. Look at these other podcasts that are out there. You guys have an excellent podcast. If you want to get into technical, Mastering Bitcoin, Andreas Antonopoulos, great read. Actually, it's a horrible read. Very informational. A boring read, but very informational. But it's fundamental to knowing Bitcoin. And take a long time to go down the rabbit hole. When CZ was on the show, we have somebody that, was making companies in tech for his whole life. He said, it took me 6 months to even understand it. And he said he's still learning this before he, made Binance. So, if somebody like CZ says it took him 6 months, I can't elevator pitch anybody. If they're very interested, if they're going to get in because of the money, get in because of the money. Then start learning. You're just going to change your idea of what Bitcoin and blockchain can do. And if you don't want to get in for the money, just start listening to different shows, different podcasts, different blogs, what have you, YouTube videos. You'll go down the rabbit hole. And 6 months later, you'll pop up with an understanding that is very basic because it's very complex. And the possibilities are not only endless, but things that we have not even thought about yet. Different ways of running economies, different ways of transacting, different ways of it's mind-blowing what people are thinking of and coming up with on the blockchain.
Matthew, you have regular years, like 365 days. Then you have dog years, which 7 dog years they say equals a people year. Our person year is 7 years to a dog. And then you have, there must be, I don't know if anyone's calculated this, it must be like crypto years, where a year is like 15 years in the world of crypto, because it changes so rapidly. Hey, is there anything you want to make sure to tell our audience about yourself or your show or crypto or anything that we want to make sure that we cover?
No, not really. I do want to say thank you to you guys for having me on the show. I want to say thank you to the crypto community, no matter if it's people who are listening to your podcast, my podcast, any other podcasts that are out there, because, it's the community, it's the willing to learn, it's the willing to, put yourself out there that is making this place an amazing space. Like you said, I think was it on this show or was it on my show that you said, have you made, really good friends in podcasts? In the crypto space.
I can't remember.
In one of our shows, we said it.
It is one of the shows.
It was one of them.
And to be perfectly honest, it's those people that come out and just, get involved with crypto is what makes this really special for everybody. So I guess the only thing I want to say is people, please don't get fudded. Don't get discouraged because the Bitcoin price goes down. Keep learning, keep trucking on. Please keep listening to podcasts. Please keep going to meetups, keep going to conferences, and keep this space moving. Because just because Bitcoin went from 19 to 6,000 doesn't mean it's not going to go back up. Doesn't mean the technology stopped.
That's just a blip on the dial. If you take that whole line,
No.
if you pull those 2 months out, and you know this, you've heard this a dozen times. If they pull those 2 months out, November and December, that line doesn't look too weird. It's just those 2 months.
It's interesting. We did Yonki, the marketing manager, he did a regression analysis with our plays on our podcast and correlated it 90% accurate to Bitcoin's price.
Mm-hmm. So that's great that you guys did the math. I mean, Gary and I looked at it and we figured it was just pretty much that, but we didn't have a number.
Everybody, no matter what they're in with crypto, says the same thing to me, though. It's not just crypto. It's not just the podcast. It's crypto, and everything that has anything to do with crypto is moving at the same rate as crypto. When crypto goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When Bitcoin goes up, all the cryptos go up. All the audience listeners go up. All the readers of blogs go up. Everything goes up. All the viewers of YouTube videos, when crypto goes down, all of that goes back down with it.
Everything. People just disappear. Where did all these tens of thousands of listeners go? I don't know. What are you guys doing now? What are you listening to?
When we tell them you should be buying because it just went under 6,000, they don't listen, your friends. And now I promise you, Matthew, when Bitcoin hits 16,000, those same people are going to come up to you and go, "Hey, Matthew, should I get into this Bitcoin?" And you go, well, I kind of told you to at 6,000.
Yeah, sure. You hold some bags. Get into it at 16,000, please.
That's what you say to people you don't like, right?
Yeah, right.
Aaron, we're going to have to get out of here. Let's do this in a year from now. If we don't do it sooner, let's do it again in a year and see where we're both at in a year.
That sounds amazing. Guys, Tony, Gary.
Great to meet you, Matthew. We're having a fun time. We enjoy the banter. We enjoy getting together and talking together, Gary and I. And now I'm seeing that the fun of just talking with someone who has a completely different viewpoint on the world. It's night here for us. It's morning for you. And you're seeing the world. I think I have a tremendous respect for you to be over there, just in a whole new country. I can't even imagine doing it. And you're prospering. You're learning again. Now you're in. What year of your MBA?
Oh, this is my last semester, so I'll be done here pretty soon.
Nice. So yeah, it's been a great experience getting to know you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. And for the listeners, please come check out crypto101podcast.com, and you can see all the links to social medias there, Twitters, iTunes, or whatever you need, and of course the Crypto Cousins as well.
Thank Matthew. We appreciate it very much.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know I enjoyed talking to Matthew. And that really was tugged on your heart, his story to me there about his son.
There's some serious stuff there. And, we take for granted that we can get money and send money, but now couldn't send money across borders like that. And it was a life and death situation. It was really, really rough.
And they say the medical care in the U.S. is bad. At least they fix you up.
Yeah,
they don't send you home.
Then they send you the bill, and then you get a heart attack after that.
Yeah. But at least you're still alive, even if you can't pay. They don't just send you home. But yeah, that was. But there was a lot of good things about that show too. And I don't want to harp on that one thing that just really tugged on my heart, I guess. But I think he has a good operation there. The way he's doing it, he has all these people in place doing different things, and he has 2 shows now. So
I thought that was brilliant, creating a different brand to run the ICO 101. So that way you really keep the 2 different brands clean.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing enough of them, in our case, we try to do the Crypto Center stage shows because we're not doing them all the time. It's one every other month or so. So it's really not, I don't think we go after that business or do enough of that to build a brand show around, as long as we identify the show.
I agree.
Yeah, but I think it is a good idea, though. Yeah, I wish we were in a position to get more people helping us out to grow the show. I found that pretty interesting.
Yeah, he's got folks volunteering, and we've done very well in our Facebook group. We've got a bunch of really good helpers there.
Yeah, we were doing a lot better though when crypto was 20,000.
Well, we all definitely were. He described it basically. He did the math, as you heard on the show. Like 0.9 was the correlation between Bitcoin price and downloads.
Yeah, no,
I knew
definitely.
It was close. Yeah,
but
we didn't have a number. We're kind of like throw the spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. We're not really statistician types.
No, we got better things to do than that's not our deal.
No.
I don't have enough time to damn. I'm surprised I even noticed I was missing 500 Twitter followers. I mean, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even believe I noticed that. I was like, and I don't know why I noticed it even, but I did. Well, Tony, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Stay cool, stay strong. Crypto is here to stay. And anytime someone attacks Bitcoin, just know that they're attacking it for a reason. They're attacking it because they're frightened that it's going to hurt the fiat currencies that they're protecting. I just saw a tweet this morning. It says, cryptocurrency is going to make the dollar value go down. And everyone tweeted back and said, yeah, that's the whole point.
That's the Bitcoin maximalist in Tony. and the marketer to me says, big thanks to everyone for listening and subscribing and leaving a review on iTunes. We need more reviews. We have over 100, but that's cool getting reviews. So give us a review and a comment. Subscribe, cryptocousins.com/subscribe. Check out our YouTube channels, youtube.com/cryptocousins and youtube.com/4minutecryptos. And that's it. We want you guys to get involved. So that's my ending there. And I'm just going to say, adios, everyone. We love you.
So long, folks. We love you.
Thanks for listening to the Crypto Cousins podcast. Please share this podcast with anyone you know that is interested in cryptocurrency. Your friends can subscribe on iTunes at cryptocousins.com/iTunes and on Android at cryptocousins.com/play. If you want to know more about Tony or Gary, just go to tonysakala.com or garyleland.com. Make sure and join us on the next episode, and thanks for listening. The Crypto Cousins podcast and information in the podcast are not intended as investment advice. Cryptocurrencies are risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Always seek professional advice before making any investment. Investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies may present tremendous risks. Please understand that you are using any and all information available on or through the Crypto Cousins podcast at your own risk.